What's up? What's up? It's time for Done Way Past Funny with your host, G.D. Fenderson. Join us as we take a look back at the early works of seasoned comedians before they were seasoned with this week's guest, Linda Marcus Smith. It's time to get down and get dope with Done Way Past Funny. Hi, I'm G.D. Fenderson, certified forensic humorist at large, but I'm losing weight. This is part 2 of our interview with comedian Linda Marcus Smith. Enjoy. Okay, so now over the time, you develop a persona on stage, and when I see you now, it's kind of like a throwback to like Joan Rivers and that type of thing. That's what I think of, like a throwback to the classic. I don't want to use this term, but it's going to make sense. Hopefully, the classic female type of comedian. You know, the classic archetype of female comedian, like the Joan Rivers. I can't use Moms Mabley because she was like a little bit different, but Pearl Bailey, where you get all gussied up. See, Moms Mabley was the only one that probably didn't get gussied up. She got gussied down. But so you get a little glamorous on stage and then do your thing. So how long before you decided to adopt that persona?
I met Rita Rudner about 4 years ago, and she was wearing a prom gown and hooker heels, F me pumps, whatever. And I thought, I met her and I loved her so much, and I told her a line and she wanted to have it. I gave her the line, and then I thought,
she gave you the dress?
No. And then from that moment on, I thought, in honor of Rita, I'm going to wear prom gowns too, because it meant so much to me that she was so kind to me.
Oh, see, I thought you said I gave her the line and she took off the dress and gave it to me, because I was going to say, wait a second, because that was like when I was younger, I'd give a lady a line and she'd take off her dress. But that's yours is a little different. So she at least, but that's real. That's first of all, Rita Rudner's excellent comedian, really good. She was really good, really funny. I loved her material.
Me too. Her and Wendy Liebman are my two favorite. And now, do you know who Vanessa Hollingshead is?
I don't think I do.
You got to look her up and put a picture of her out there. She tears a room apart. I would say that of all the female comedians, hands down, she can crack up a room better than all of them.
Now, there are a lot of good ones out there. Now, since as long as we're talking about female comedians, because they're, for the most part, comedy is a sausage fest for the most part. And so, and one of the things I do like about what you do is that it appears as though you have not let the sausage fest infect your type of comedy. Because a lot of times people do that, because a lot of the male comedians, when they don't have material, which is most of the time, they fall back on the dick jokes. You know, that's their fall back on, and it's not usually, they're not even big enough to fall back on or lean on. I don't even know why they do it, but but you haven't let that. And I've seen a lot of women comedians go vulgar just because of that. You have not done that. Now, so how do you navigate the sexism in comedy, I guess is what the question is.
Well, I noticed the sexism a lot, and I use humor on it to bring it to their attention nicely. So, for instance, when I walk into a comedy club, I see the sausage fest. I see the guys giving the guys fist bumps, you know, and I'll just walk up to him and go, I'm not going to be ignored. You're going to give me a fist bump too. Trust me. You're one way or another, we're going to fist. Don't ignore me because I'm a woman. Don't ignore me because I'm old. You can ignore me if I'm not funny, but don't ignore me because of my age or my sex or my religion.
Which is Presbyterian. You're a Presbyterian. I'm just teasing. I know you're Jewish now.
My mom was Christian and my dad was Jewish. So basically, I'm nothing. The Jews don't want me. The Christians don't want me to date their sons. So I do comedy.
But both will take a tithe. Both
Yes.
of they will both take a tithe from you, even if they don't want you. Even if they don't want you in the pews, they want your wallet. And okay, I understand. So,
Yeah. I'll take them donations. You bet they will.
so you said your mom was Jewish,
My mom was Christian.
Christian. Your father was Jewish.
Yeah.
And was he Orthodox or
In Germany, he was. My dad's family went through the Holocaust,
okay?
and my dad was the only survivor, and they were very Orthodox in the old country. And then he came here and he became what's called alcoholic. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, yes. I've seen those. I've seen the alcoholic Jews. Yes, I have. Yeah, yeah. The
Nailed
Manischewitz. It's
it. He nailed
yes, yes. He's the Manischewitz sect of the Jewish. There's Hasidic. Yeah, and there's Yes, okay, I got you.
it.
Now, what type of Christian was your mom? Because Christianity is also like Judaism, and Judaism has like 12 tribes, 19 sects, and so Christianity. What was your mom?
Well, they were like in Europe, it was like you're Christian. They didn't care. It was more Lutheran Christian. In America, is Lutheran really a Christian? There's that whole thing. But she became an agnostic because of what she went through during the war.
Okay.
So she went through a lot of traumas weekly with the SS having their way with her in Frankfurt. So my mother, for that reason, wasn't capable of really being a mother. She was traumatized during the war weekly, over and over and over, and gave up on God because she was praying that God would, rescue her, and he never did. And so she was raped weekly over and over. And my dad was in concentration camps, and all his family died except him. So my parents were, no offense, but they were useless. That's why I always liked comedy, because my parents could never be in this moment. And that's why I have so much compassion for people who are sad or depressed, because that was my childhood, watching my parents never enjoying this moment. And I could do goofy stuff and make them forget all this pain and just laugh. And I learned that early on, that I had power to transform somebody out of something I didn't understand into something else. And I loved that feeling.
That was going to be my next thing. Was did you attempt to make them smile or laugh? And yes, you did.
Yes.
So, but
They,
so
you
why
know,
did it take so long? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
with alcoholism, and they both resorted to that to cope after the war in America. With alcoholism comes certain things like risky behavior and fighting. They were always fighting in front of us. And one day I took a bunch of marbles, those little glass balls, and I put them on
Yeah.
my head and let them drop to the floor. I hadn't planned this. And it's like they were fighting over here, and I took these marbles and they hit the hardwood floor because we couldn't afford rugs. And when they hit the floor, I said, "You guys are making me lose my marbles." I was like 5, I shouldn't have known how to do that yet, but
Well,
it just something to interrupt them, and you could always interrupt. My whole childhood, I was trying to make my mother laugh because she was still just so traumatized.
now I guess this is just because my mother also was a connoisseur of the alcoholism. Uh, she, she although she maintained that she was not. Come to think of it, see, I don't think that she was an actual alcoholic. I think that she was just an abusive person who used alcohol to as an excuse to be abusive. That's what I think. So the other part of that let me see. So you, let's say you had 4 hours to prepare, which to me is just mind-boggling to me. I mean, had you had your brain injury yet?
Yeah, I had my
Okay.
brain injury in 1996 and 1996, and then this was 2014, I think it was March 2014.
Okay, so you've had time to accumulate you've had time to adjust.
Yeah,
Not
but my
yeah.
my memory was my memory is so much better now. It was horrible then. I had to use notes for five of my 9 years. I had to use notes.
Wow. Okay. I mean, well, again, I see a lot of young people who can't do comedy without their phone for 5 minutes. So I'm not going to knock you for that, because I had one comedian who started comedy in one mental state, suffered strokes, and continued comedy, but he was a different comedian after the strokes because he didn't have the same mental acuity, and so he had to readjust his material for his new way of for the new way of the brain worked. But you didn't have to do that, was what I meant by you didn't have to adjust,
No.
because the brain you went in with is the brain you will come out with, so to speak. That's the brain. You have the same brain.
Yes.
Now, and speaking of the same brain, do women comics treat each other better than men treat women comics?
Let me put it this way. Here's what I think about female comics. We need to get our shit together. We are so good at competing with each other. I don't know if women comics think that they need to compete for that one spot on every flyer, but we need to quit it, because I'll tell you what I observed. When you go to a comedy club for a show or a mic, when a guy goes on stage, 15 guys are in the back listening and laughing. A girl goes on stage, the women are not laughing, they're analyzing or competing in their head. They're not laughing. And so then it appears to the comedy clubs that the men get better laughs than the women. And there's enough nonsense out there from chauvinistic men that women aren't funny.
Right.
And we're not supporting each other.
Okay. Now,
We're not supporting each other enough. We're competing for that one spot on a flyer. We need to come from abundance, not lack.
there are a few shows, not a lot. Like there's a show that says, I think it's women comics of a certain age. I think it's what it's called.
Carol
And
Montgomery's Women of a Certain
yes,
Age.
women of a certain age. And most of the time, like I said, I've caught a few of those, and most of the time it's like really, really good. I'm sorry, I treat women comics and men comics the same. Either they're funny or they're not funny. Plain as, that's it. And
Exactly.
so, and I don't, other than that, I don't care. I don't care your gender. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care if you're famous. Don't care if nobody knows who you are. Don't care. Don't care. Can you make me laugh? That's all I care about. I'm
Exactly.
selfish. I'm selfish when it comes to comedy. Now, since you, like me, started later, and most of your contemporaries or your friends are also up in years, that makes it very difficult to do bringer shows. Well, did you find it difficult to do bringer shows because most of the people you know would be your age and not staying up past 5 o'clock in the evening to come see you do comedy?
Well, let me school you nice
Okay,
with a
go ahead.
smile.
Go
Um,
ahead.
I don't come from lack. I used to come from, the glass is half full. But here's the deal about bringers. If you're thinking, not you, if people are resistant to bringer shows, get out of comedy, because you're never, one way or another, every single show is a bringer.
Yes.
If you don't think that, if you think that Sebastian Maniscalco is going to get on at Madison Square Garden if he doesn't bring 5,000 people of his own, you got another thing coming. Everything's a bringer. Everything's butts in seats or TikTok followers or social media. So everybody has to find their own way to prove to a club that you're there for the club. The club is not there for you. Wake up. And ever since I caught on to the right attitude, that I had to talk to myself and say, I'm failing at bringing, I'm failing at getting booked. And then the minute I switched my thinking to, wow, let me open up my mind to the possibilities of who could possibly want to come at least one time to hear me do comedy, then it's been super easy. And you just like, who do I know? I got booked on a show where I raised my daughter in Renton, Washington on the 30th of this month.
Okay.
So I'm going through every single place I ever worked for, got fired from. They probably have good memories of me by now. I worked at McDonald's. I worked at a jewelry store. I met a lot of people at Boeing. The church I went to, I'm sure they better have forgiven me. God makes them. I've forgiven them for their nonsense. And so I'm going through the litany of all the places and people that know me, and I'm thinking possibilities, not the incapability, or
Okay.
I have to have people that you're helping yourself when you're making yourself more marketable. You're increasing your fan base, like, why does everybody look at, I don't understand. I remember how I used to think of bringers, and I hear people saying, oh, you're going to New York. I'd like to get on that show, but I don't do bringers anymore. Well, good luck. Let me know how that works for you. Everybody expects you to bring, whether they say it. It just may not be the contract to get booked. But if you're not going to be bringing anybody, eventually you're not going to get booked.
I got you. So my question was, how did you overcome because I knew that there's a difficulty with the bringer show, not I'm opposed to the bringer show.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering how you compensated or how you overcame it. But now I see how you overcame it because
my dad used to say, if you don't like something, you have to fuck your mind into saying you like it. And that's what I did.
Oh, okay. So your dad taught you that fucking your mind.
Yeah, that's how he got through the Holocaust. He fucked
Oh,
his
yeah,
mind.
okay, yes. Only he probably said it in Yiddish, right? Or
yeah.
Which I would say it in Yiddish if I could even come close to thinking how you would say that in Yiddish. Wow. Again, that's a phrase I need to learn in Yiddish. Fuck your mind. Well, I guess Michigana, but that's the closest thing I can come. So, let me put the second half of that set in. Well, what? Look, okay. What the? Well, first of all, I appreciate it because, like I said, that was the first time, and that's the part of the thing is the reason I want to do this is that I want young comedians who look at experienced comedians and say, "Oh my God, they're so good," to realize that we weren't always polished and good.
Yeah.
We came from a place of stink. Okay, so and we had to work at it. We had flaws and things that the first time we took the stage, we had bad habits and bad jokes and bad wardrobes and over time you fix those things,
Yeah.
So we're going to watch the second half and then you're going to tell me what bad things you let go of after then.
Okay.
All right.
I'll be critical, no problem.
All righty, thank you. Here we go.
They found out that I'm allergic to everything except people. And so this is allergy pills, which is keeping me here. And it also lets you sleep really good and have really good dreams. But I'm allergic to the dye on the pills. So, I have a lot of fun scaring people by trying to take the dye off. And they're looking at you and like, I gotta get to the crack. I gotta get to the crack. And they're like, no, I'm just kidding. I don't do that. But this bottle is shaking. So when I was at the VA, I went there one time to get a refill on acetaminophen because it's free, right? And I'm Jewish, so that sounded really good. So I go to the VA and I say, hey, give me a refill on that acetaminophen. Well, it's not so easy, Miss Smith. You got to go down there with all the guys in the waiting room and wait around for it. And so I'm down there, and they're like, okay, Miss Smith, do you want to have a consult? On acetaminophen, I was pretty, even with a brain injury, I can't screw that up, right? And so you know what, actually, I would want that consult. So the guy comes up, and so I have my acetaminophen bottle in my hand, and I said, how much of this can you take in a day? And he said, it's just a job, don't worry about it. So I don't know if I'm the only one with a brain injury. He didn't quite get what I was saying. So, thank you. I'm paid $5 for that laugh. When you're a senior in Sun City and you're retired all of a sudden, you have nothing but time on your hands and you have to find constructive things to do. So I got a couple quick things as I close to tell you. They sell funny things at the corner, Happy and Healthy. Here's one. It is the toothbrush that rocks and won't fall over. And every senior needs it, right? And I'm like, why don't they put these on the bottom of people's walkers? I mean, that would make a lot more sense because they have a scented calculator. I don't know what good that is because I don't like math, even if it smells good. But this is the funniest thing I ever saw. These are little caplets you put on your cords on your appliances so that you know what that cord is for. So you know that 1 foot cord from the wall to the toaster?
Yes.
Well, now you don't have to wonder where that cord goes to. You can put pink on it, and now your problem is what's pink stand for? That's supposed to help you. And the last thing I want to share with you is flip-flops. You can get them at Walgreens. They're bendable, folks. Go get yourself a pair because those millions of others that you have, they're made out of what? Metal? So thanks very much.
Hey, Linda!
Oh. Now you had 4 hours to prepare that set. Where did you get the little things that you're holding up? Because it takes me 4 hours to go to the store and get that kind of stuff. So you had 4 hours to get that stuff and write material about it. Where'd the stuff come from?
There was a Walgreens right around the corner, and I went in there and I thought, maybe if I take some stuff on stage and just make fun of it, because I remember in the sale aisle at Walgreens, there's always stupid stuff.
Right.
And maybe I could just riff about it, and I don't have to plan it. I'm so talented with my first time on stage. Let me just go buy a bunch of stuff and then pull it out like prop comedy and riffing. I know improv because I've been here 4 hours, and that's
So that was that was not their suggestion. That was you saying, okay, let me just I think that was resourceful. Resourceful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
In that comedy 5 minutes, I must have said the name Sun City 18 and a half times.
So do you get royalties for it? I mean, is that like a recruitment poster? It's like Sun City, come to Sun City. Linda Martin says Sun City.
People wonder why my daughter doesn't speak to me.
Is Sun City still there? Because Aces isn't.
Well, Sun City got bought out like Pac-Man. There was Sun City, and then Pac-Man came and ate it up. Like Menifee and Murrieta ate up Sun City. So now it's Menifee.
Okay. So the Jews didn't really buy it, like you said. I mean, like you hypothesized, it wasn't the Jews that did it. It was someone else.
This time it wasn't the Jews in Hollywood.
Oh, the one time.
You know who did live in Sun City right before she died? Estelle Getty from Friends. Wow. She lived, and she used to go to the McDonald's.
Not Friends, Golden Girls, right? Girls.
Yeah, Golden Girls. Lived in Sun City.
Cool. I loved her. She was hilarious.
I know.
Did she do stand-up at all, or was she just an actress? I'm just curious because she was really funny. Really
funny, just naturally with the timing and the character, straight face,
Yes.
That's my
Yes.
favorite. I just admire people who can tell a joke with a straight face. I could never play poker.
I think one of the best people to do that was Gracie Allen. I think she was hilarious and so good at what she did. And I
Yeah.
don't think that people appreciate how good she was at what she did. Man or woman, what she did was just off the charts. And she did it without being outrageous. It was all up here.
Yes.
It was all up here.
I adore Gracie Allen. Adore her. I wish I could. One day I would love to do a Gracie and George Burns comedy duo, but what she does, I'd have to have a lot of schooling to pull it off. She's so classy. She was so classy, so smart, and
Yes.
such impeccable timing. Almost
See,
like
and people,
Jack Benny timing.
yeah, and a lot of people don't realize how intelligent she was to do what she did. A lot of people just see the ditzy thing, and they don't realize how smart you had to be that ditzy and get away with it.
Yes,
You don't get to be that ditzy by accident. It
you,
takes work.
you
And
don't.
she
She
was.
really pulled it off.
So any other who? So was she an influence? Did she influence you, or did,
Absolutely.
and who else influenced you?
Rita Rudner, Wendy Liebman, Vanessa Hollingshead, as far as trying to do act outs and callbacks and the structure. For the nuts and bolts, Vanessa Hollingshead. But for the stage persona and the professionalism on stage, Wendy Liebman, Rita Rudner, and Gracie Allen.
Yeah, she was. It's funny because well, she passed first. So George Burns went on to continue to do comedy until his 80s, maybe even his 90s. I don't know when he stopped. He may still be doing it. I don't know.
He may
No.
still be doing women.
Yeah. That's what those cigars are for. Bill Clinton was not the first, okay? But and now I wonder because his comedy changed a little bit once she passed because he didn't have her to play off. I'm just wondering what kind of dynamic would have been had he passed first.
Yeah.
How she would have done because, like I said, she was very funny, and I think she'd have been hilarious without him. And I don't know if she would have picked another partner or if she'd have gone solo. I think that's something that we should have a tech talk on. That should be a group thing.
That's
People,
interesting that you asked that. I never thought about that.
well, that's what I do. That's what that's what I do. I just think of things because my brain is defective. Like, so now okay, I'm going to change up a little bit. Well, okay, I'm sorry. On your website, you have, it says, let me see here. Come to see her. You will loathe, Loave her, and her comedy. Is loathe deliberate, or is that just a misspelling that nobody has caught until now?
That's a typo. I am the queen of typos, and I never notice them. And my sister says, "Don't you check for?" No, I wait for somebody else to tell me. I got things to do.
Okay, well, it says you will loathe her and her comedy. That's it. Just write that down so you can fix it later. Or you may not want to fix it. You just maybe leave it loathe and write a bread joke right after that, or a yeast comment. Like just you're like yeast. You will rise. Just bring the dough or something like that. You bring the dough and I will rise to the occasion or something like that. Just right there. You will loathe her and her comedy. Bring the dough and I rise to the occasion. That's it. And leave it like that. So you don't have to change the spelling. Just add more material. Just even though I know in comedy people say shorter is better, and I don't believe that. I think comedy is like a good genital, and maybe you could go longer and wider and broader, and maybe that'll help you be funny. So
Funny.
hi, I'm GD Fenderson, certified forensic humorist at large, but I'm losing weight. You've just watched part 2 of our interview with comedian Linda Marcus Smith. Please join us for part 3. And when you do, bring a friend.